Welcome to Love Thy Selfies. I'm Melissa, and this is a podcast where self-love gets real. Not fluffy, not preachy, just human. Sometimes we'll go deep, and sometimes we'll laugh. But every episode will remind you of one thing. You're already enough. So grab your coffee, take a breath, and let's do this together.
Welcome to the Love Thy Selfies podcast, and welcome back to the Weight Loss Truce Series. So if you are new here, this is a series where we're untangling weight loss from shame, hustle, punishment, and we're replacing it with physiology, partnership, and long-term sustainability. So in the last episode, we talked about why doing everything the right way still did not work for me, especially living with PCOS and insulin resistance. So today, I want to dive into one of the biggest fears that most women have when starting GLP-1s. And I know this because I decided to dive into the research myself. And when you type into the Google chat bar, it shows you all of the most common questions asked around GLP-1s. And some of those were, am I losing muscle? Is this ruining my metabolism? Is this considered cheating? And first of all, I just want to invite you to breathe. Let's breathe together. Oh, I feel better already. So I want to just give you the peace of mind and knowing that if something is working for you and you have energy, your systems are functioning properly, and you feel good in your skin, then what you are doing is not cheating. Now, I want you to come along with me because we are going to unpack this calmly and clearly. So I felt so called to talk about my own personal war in my head because I know that I'm not the only one who has been struggling through this for over decades. And I know believe me, when it comes to weight loss, I have tried it all. I've tried every diet. I've tried every exercise routine. I have tried everything. And that is why I called this series the Weight Loss Without War series, because I'm just done fighting. Have you ever felt like that where you're just exhausted, you're burnt out, and you're like, I'm tired of fighting. Like, why can't this be easy? This gets to be easy. So I decided that I'm calling a truce with my hormones, with my body, with food. It's a truce with the cultural pressure to suffer for weight loss results. Fuck that noise. Say it with me. Claps here. Fuck that noise. The most important part of this is knowing that calling a truce does not mean giving up responsibility. It means getting to a place where you understand your biology and you understand why your body's working the way it's working, and you're not judging. And one of the biggest misunderstandings right now is the belief that GLP-1 medications cause muscle loss. So come along with me and let me share with you what I learned from my doctor, because this was one of my biggest concerns. I did my own research on this topic. So let's separate fear from physiology. So here's the science behind muscle loss and GLP-1s. So I want to talk gently about this for a minute. And I want you to know that I'm not judging in any situation. I'm just being honest. So one of the biggest conversations around GLP-1 medications that I have heard between my friends is muscle loss. And I understand why that sounds scary. But here's what's actually happening in real life, because GLP-1s, as we know, they quiet your appetite, and a lot of women simply don't feel as hungry. And if you're not hungry, you're going to eat less without even trying to, right? That's the natural progression. It's actually probably a lot of people's goal when it comes to taking a GLP-1. But the problem is you end up eating a lot less protein, especially if you're not thinking about it intentionally, because let's be honest, you're normally not craving a big chicken breast if you're me. Maybe you are, I don't know. But that's where the risk shows up. It's not because the medication is eating your muscles, but because your body still needs to be fueled, even if your appetite is a little bit quieter. So here's the part that I wish someone had explained to us years ago to women. Muscle isn't just aesthetic. It is protective to so many systems in your body. And it's a physical sign of health. When you look at someone and they are very muscular and tight and toned, instantly your brain is like, that person is very healthy. So it helps your body respond better to insulin. I didn't know that. Muscle also keeps blood sugar steadier, and it supports your metabolism behind the scenes. So if you lose weight, but you're not supporting your muscle along the way, your body can adapt by slowing everything down over time. And this is not a dramatic, overnight shift, but it is gradual. And that's not a GLP-1 problem. It's just an underfueling malnourishment problem. So the beautiful part is this: when your protein intake is intentional and when your strength training is consistent, even just a few days a week, muscle can absolutely be preserved during fat loss, even with GLP-1 support. So this shouldn't be about fear. It needs to be about awareness. It's about understanding that your appetite is going to feel quieter, but your body still has to be nourished. It's not, don't take this. It's not, this is dangerous. It's, if you choose this path, you have to choose to support your body intelligently. So have a plan ahead of time. Protect your strength, eat your protein, have a really good protein supplement that you can just sip on throughout the day to get that in, and lift something a few times a week. Make sure that you're getting the support you need to be successful. So here's what actually happens when you undereat. I want to talk gently about this because I know that this is a very prevalent problem with women. This was another really big reason why I was nervous to take a GLP-1. When I was 15, I completely lost my period because I was undereating. I stopped nourishing myself and I paid the price very dearly. I remember my mom sitting me down and saying, if you ever want to have kids, you have to stop skipping meals. You have to start eating regularly. You have to start nourishing your body so that all your systems work. And luckily, that scared me enough to get it together and make sure that I was fueling my body properly. I had to work so hard to not intentionally starve myself. And at that age, I was so young, I was 15. I had no idea that I was really harming myself. I felt powerful just eating less and less over time. Skipping meals. I felt like I had so much self-control, living on coffee, ignoring the hunger cues, celebrating on the inside when I wasn't that hungry today. It felt productive at first. And I had so many compliments from people who told me that I was doing such a good job because I was losing all this weight. And I was finally looking like society told me I needed to look like as a woman. But they were so incredibly wrong. The truth is, the scale may move when you're skipping meals and you're malnourishing yourself, and your clothes are going to fit differently. There is this euphoric sense of control, but underneath the surface, your body is making adjustments, and most of them are not good ones. So when calories, especially protein, stay too low for too long, your body doesn't just pull from fat stores. It also pulls from muscle because muscle is metabolically active tissue, which means that it requires energy in order to maintain it. And when the body senses scarcity, it begins conserving energy like it normally should. And that can look like a loss of strength, feeling colder than usual, fatigue or low motivation, hair thinning, very brittle nails, slower recovery from workouts, more pronounced blood sugar swings, and eventually a slower resting metabolism. And here's the part that can feel so frustrating as a woman. When your muscle mass decreases, your insulin sensitivity, it gets worse over time, which means that blood sugar regulation, it becomes less efficient. So your body is going to hold on to fat more tightly because it senses stress and scarcity. So it's like, oh, we need all of this energy. We need all of these food stores in our body. So ironically, undereating even if you're on a GLP-1, it can make fat loss harder later. And this is actually a beautiful tripwire built into your body to keep you alive. I know it doesn't feel like that, but this is your body keeping you alive because it is adaptive. So you can live through feast or famine. Your body is always trying to protect you. It's not against you. It's not fighting some war with you. Muscle isn't just about aesthetics. It is about resilience. It's your metabolic cushion, your blood sugar stabilizer. It's your longevity insurance. So when we lose muscle unintentionally, we don't just lose tone, we lose protection. And this is why the conversation around GLP-1s or any weight loss method has to include proper nourishment. If your appetite is quieter, your intention has to be louder. We are not restricting anymore. We are protecting ourselves with a healthy plan and executing it when we need to. So remember, this is not about fear. It's about remembering that shrinking is not the goal. Stability is, strength is, and finally, safety is. I remember when I talked to my doctor, the fear was so overwhelming at the beginning of the conversation. I had already spent years counting macros, overtraining myself, and blaming myself when my PCOS body did not respond the way that everyone promised that it would. I worked with one-on-one coaches who were giving me nutrition advice, literally building out a macro plan for me. And I was tracking everything that went in and out of my body. So when I started really researching GLP-1 medications, muscle loss was one of my biggest concerns because I have known for a really long time that every pound of muscle you gain is paying dividends into a healthy future for you. And I listened to the endocrinologists, and I wanted to understand the long-term metabolic impact of a GLP-1. And most importantly, I watched my friends on their own journeys. A lot of them have taken GLP-1s, and I learned so much incredible advice from them, and I am so grateful for them. We talked about this in the last episode, but I learned that GLP-1 receptor agonists, they mimic a hormone that your body already produces. So they improve your body's insulin sensitivity. They regulate your appetite signaling, and they stabilize your blood sugar. So for someone like me with insulin resistance, that's not cosmetic cheating. That is necessary hormonal support. But the medication doesn't lift weights for you. That's the sad part. It doesn't eat your protein for you. It regulates your appetite, and it helps to balance your hormones. It's one of the small parts of the process that falls into place to help you, but your job is to protect your muscles. The second that my doctor said that, everything clicked into place for me because I quickly learned that this isn't about outsourcing my effort. It is about aligning effort with medication that helps to support healthy physiology. This is just another beautiful piece in the puzzle of my personal health and my lifestyle. So, here are the top 3 tips that my doctor gave me that have set me up for success from the very beginning of my GLP-1 journey. Number 1, as you can probably guess, is eating adequate protein. So my doctor recommended for me taking a GLP-1, I need to aim for 0.7 to 1 grams of protein per pound of goal body weight. So my goal body weight, I am 5'9". I am a tall woman. My goal body weight is 145 pounds. Unless I have more muscle, I'm fine with that. I am tracking my body as a whole and making sure that I'm just falling within a very healthy range. So that's anywhere from 130 to 150 grams of protein every day, no less. On lower appetite days, I make sure that I have a protein shake in my pantry that I enjoy sipping on instead of skipping meals entirely. So another really great thing to do is to add a scoop of collagen. It's usually about 18 to 20 grams of protein that you're throwing in there with your protein shake. I can't taste mine. I love the Vital Proteins one. And it's literally like 40 grams of protein in my shake at a time in one serving. It is absolutely incredible. And I don't have to stress anymore about hitting my goals because remember, consuming protein protects your muscles and muscle protects your metabolism. So that is the chain to success. Number 2 is strength training 3 times a week. So you need to send your body the signal to keep this tissue with compound lifts, progressive overload, and rest days. You do not have to do endless cardio. There's your permission slip. And personally, after talking to my doctor, she recommended that I shift from a grueling incline treadmill session and stair-stepping machines. You know how rough those are. She told me to literally just go take a walk with a weighted vest because number one, it adds resistance without spiking your cortisol or putting too much strain on your joints. So those were 2 things that she recommended. Really great tips on how to get a really good workout in without overextending. And tip number 3 is weekly trend tracking. So I use a smart fitness scale every week to monitor, and this was recommended to me by my doctor. It literally costs $20, but this tracks your lean mass, your body fat percentage, your visceral fat, and so many other metrics. This app is so cool too. It's the VSync app, and I get a little screenshot every week, and it has like literally 10 to 12 markers that it's looking at. And I just screenshot that and I just asked ChatGPT to break everything down for me. Like, where have I made improvements this week? What can I do to tweak my routine to help me with my losses? So this is the main thing that has helped me prevent emotional spirals. I love collecting data. I'm a data person. So I find so much comfort in having the most information I possibly can. So the more data I collect, the more overall picture I have of knowing my overall health and knowing what is working, where I need to tweak, my plan for the ultimate success. And at the end of the day, if muscle stays stable and my fat decreases, then I know that I'm protecting my metabolism. I am winning, baby. I know this was a ton of information. Please do not get overwhelmed. So here's what I want you to leave with. GLP-1 medication is not a magic medicine. It's not that magic pill that everybody talks about, even though sometimes it really does feel like it when you're on it. I don't care what the mainstream media says to you. It is not cheating. It is not a shortcut. It is a metabolic support. But metabolic support still requires stewardship. You got to just live the lifestyle. You don't need to punish your body. You don't need to starve it. You don't need to panic every time the scale moves. You need protein, strength, hydration, regulation, and patience. And that is the truth you get to start with yourself. No more mental wars, no more constant hustling, no more shame spirals. Now we're just in a beautiful state of alignment. So if this episode helped quiet even one of those fears for you, that makes it all worth it to me. I want you to remember, slow and steady wins the race here, because we're building a lifestyle that is completely sustainable and that you love. If you enjoyed this, I want you to make sure to come back next week, where we will dive deeper into my GLP-1 journey. Yay! So until then, namaste, bestie.
Thanks for listening to Love Thy Selfies. I'm Melissa, and while I'm not a therapist, I believe in the power of everyday self-love. So let's keep it simple, breathe deep, laugh often, and remember, you are already worthy of love exactly as you are. I'll see you next time.